Hey everybody, I am just about ready to do a little sculpting here. My apologies, I'm trying out a lot of things and I'm at a different, can you see my screen okay? It looks a little washed out to me. I'm in a different environment here. And I'm just trying to get everything set up as well as I can. You have to flip your phone the opposite direction this time, right? Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm almost done here. I just want to get my music going and I can't remember how to do it. Music. Oh, there we go. Let's see. How do I find a playlist? I have a playlist. Hmm. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we're finally done. Alright, now we can get busy and actually do what we came here to do. I'll have to get my desktop set up. I'm working on my computer down here in the shop. That's the reason the background around me looks a little different. All of this. And I'll get my phone set up so you don't have to flip it the wrong direction next time. So I don't have a lot of time today because most of my time was spent in setup. Is the music too loud? Let me know. Again, this is a lot about testing right now to make sure that everything is working properly. It's good. Okay, good. That's good to know. Yeah, it's kind of hard when everything is, you're used to doing it a certain way and now you're doing it a different way. Anyway, Wicked, I wanted to show you. Let me go ahead and save this where it's at. I was just yutzing around with texture maps that my own texture maps that I created yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I can't remember for sure. I went ahead and made some walls, applied some brick texture, and got kind of medieval with it. got some deep texture on there, and because I made these textures myself, as you can see, they came out, I think, a lot better. I cut some sections of the wall away to make it look like it was a kind of a war-torn wall, crumbling away, maybe a World War II old French countryside wall. But anyway, I thought you would appreciate this more than anyone else, so that's why I wanted to show it to you. But like I said, these are from textures that I made. I started out with AI to create a brick texture, and then I went ahead and tightened up the contrast and the brightness a little bit, brought it in, and as you can see, it looks doesn't look too bad. I went ahead and played around with painting. When I had the texture applied, because the opacity mask created, you know, an actual opacity mask, I went ahead and left it in there and used it for paint. Let's go ahead and add a light source real quick. Make it golden afternoon. A little bit of shadowing there. Late afternoon. Turn the intensity up if we want. And then maybe we put another light source over here in the corner. It's the wrong panel. We'll make this more of a point light. It's outside. I want to put it inside of my structure. And we'll make that one even more orangish. And maybe we'll make this more of a blue. The sun is setting. And now we've got our lighting can be fun. Let's see, this is my directional light, so I'm going to bring this outside. Maybe a little bit of a moonlight evening. And then we got our fire going on the inside. Anyway. So, just thought I would pull that up and show it to you. Like I said, we were just playing around a little bit yesterday, and I really wanted to get into the texturing thing, and not just to do that, but also to refresh myself on the technique so I don't forget. So, anyway, using this technique, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to head back to our Cornucopia. So, same principle here that we did with the brick wall. We're going to need to apply a texture. We don't need to, but we want to apply a texture to our Cornucopia to give it a bit of a basket weave. And while we could do this manually, obviously if we're working with texture maps, it can be a lot easier. So let's go to, got our object selected. Exactly, you never know when you might need it. We're going to go to opacity, and as you can see, I've already got my opacity turned on, or the texture in place. I'm going to go ahead and remove it just so we start from scratch for everybody's benefit. We'll head to Files, and let's do just a standard old-fashioned basket weave. That should have given us a little, that should have given us something here, but it's not showing up. What I do wrong? I apply it to the wrong thing? No, we're selected. What modes are in the I've been moving things around quite a bit. I might actually have to restart Nomad. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. It's usually at this point the texture shows up. What did I do wrong? Any ideas, Wicked? Feel free to jump in here. Thought that's where you're supposed to drop the textures in the opacity channel. Oops, we don't want photos. We want files. Could put in files, but let's try a different. Maybe it's that's so weird. Yeah, it's not showing up. Scale it now. Okay. Let's scale it. It's not showing up anywhere though. No. Alright, I broke Nomad. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's just, for argument's sake, go out here to my base scene. Let's add a new object to our scene. Keep it simple, we'll make it a box. Up our topology. And then we'll validate it. We're going to add a texture to the box. Yeah, it's working here. Alright, then we go into the texture and we scale it. Get the exact size that we want. It looks to be pretty good size, so then I'm going to come over here and reproject it. Do it a couple times. And then we jump into our operations panel. And just like that, we have a box. It's one piece. That's what I did it yesterday just as a test. So there we have a box with our, and now it's locked up. Yeah, I think something is up with, something's up with Nomad. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's restart that, and then let's restart the machine itself. Like I said, I've been plugging and unplugging and doing all kinds of things today that probably upset somebody. Alright, bear with me here. Hey, sometimes it happens. At the end of the day, we're still working with computers, and they're only as smart as the people that make them. Or as perfect, I should say, maybe. Alright, in we go. Yeah, see, it set to the default scene, which is not where we left off. Alright, let's try and open our Cornucopia now. And see if we can get to do what we want it to do. Gonna grab that. We'll remove it. We will add it again. had UV turned on. That'll make a difference. Not sure why that was on. All right, problem solved, at least for the moment. All right, so we had, and again, I haven't played around with this enough to know. I'm just going to be frank with you. So I'm not sure why UV made a difference, but we set it to auto, and of course it picks triplanar, which is what it's using. UV, for whatever reason, it doesn't work, and that's okay in this particular situation. I'll figure it out and explain it more later when I know. In the meantime, let's apply a little scale to this. Now remember, you're going to be 3D printing this, so you don't want to get really tiny. If this is just for visual purposes, then you can make it as small and as, scale it down as far as you want. But I happen to know that this is going to be a 3D printed object, so I want to keep it kind of in a medium size. Gonna go to miscellaneous. There we go. And now we're going to project this onto the object. Hit that a couple times, make sure we don't have any dirty maps on there. And let's go ahead and switch out of paint mode into matcap. And I'm going to go ahead and use our inflate tool. And you're going to see this basket weave texture just jump right out of our model. Now it's still dark in here because that's the mask that you're still seeing. Okay. Now again, it's got a lot of rough edges on it, so I think what I might do is I might just go ahead and smooth those a little bit, or a lot of it, as the case would be. Okay. And I think that's an acceptable basket weave. So now we're going to go back over here and remove our map. I probably should have done that in the first place, but no biggie. Go to our mask tool. And now if you wanted to use the mask, invert the mask and do some painting, which I did before, I showed you on that wall earlier, then you would leave your mask in place and we could create some layers. In this case I've got it set to gold. So let's say we wanted to make it a gold color. I'm going to slip into paint mode, and I've kind of got a gold color. I'm not a huge fan of it. Let's make it more of a harvest gold. Alright, we'll go ahead and paint all, and then I'm going to come down and invert the mask, and let's say I want to paint in some, some brown highlight or shadowing in there. So I will apply another layer, and we'll call this shadow. Alright, and we'll go ahead and fill that with that darker color. Like so. Alright, and then now if we clear our mask, you'll see that we've got a 3D object with some, and you can take your paintbrush in there if you want to keep that mask. And the nice thing is now is because each thing is in its own layer as far as colors go. Actually, also the extrusion I had on the gold layer should go on the base. But that's how you use it to not only create the geometry, but then also to paint it if you want, and respect where the geometry's at. So, but let's go back because I actually don't need the color. So let's get rid of these two layers. Let's just kind of start from scratch and walk through the process again. I'm going to go back into matcap mode. All right, and what we're going to do is again make sure. Clear the mask. We don't need the masking tool. We're going to grab that texture. Alright, so let's try a different texture. Let's go with, I think we did the diagonal before. Let's go with, or no, we didn't do the diagonal, did we? No, we didn't. So this is a slightly different basket weave texture that I came up with. Again, I'm going to make it a little bigger because I'm 3D printing. Again, if I was just doing this for visuals, I could make it as fine as I want. But that's not the case. It's 3D printing, so I want to keep it kind of chunky. All right. Not that 3D printers won't print small details, but these objects are going to be printed small anyway, somewhere in the neighborhood of this. You can scale it up and print it bigger if you want. So in that case, what I'd probably do is I'd probably do a couple of different versions. But this is roughly the size, maybe a little bit longer because this will be a cornucopia that we're going to be printing. That'll be the base model. Alright, so we've got our texture in place. we're going to go ahead and come over here and project that texture onto the object. I hit it a couple times again just to make sure it's nice and solid. That's good, I like that. So let's go ahead and remove the opacity mask, and then come here and hit the inflate tool. And it looks like my diagonal basket weave doesn't tile very easily, so that's fine. I can fix that easily enough. It's a little rough, a little grainy, so I'm just going to go ahead and smooth it out with our smooth function. Okay, and you can smooth as much or as little as you want. The bottom line is you have created three-dimensional geometry from that grayscale map. And then if you're done, you just go ahead and clear your mask. And there you go. Slip back into paint mode, and our Cornucopia has turned white. That's okay. We'll add a gold layer to it. Select our gold color. Paint all, and there you go. Yeah, I definitely want to change that that texture. I didn't realize it didn't tile. Obviously, I did not edit that texture as well as I thought. Okay. So I probably would actually go back and just use a different texture. For that reason, and we have different textures. You want something with a little bigger, a little more open on the weave. That kind of gives it a, I don't know. Now I know this in tiles, as you can see, for the most part. There's a couple of rings here. I could probably clean that up. Let's jump in here and open that up just a little bit. Yeah, I like that. Now you can rotate the texture too, so if you don't like the orientation, like if it's out here, I need to pin this up so it stays open. So if you don't like the way it's lining up here, you can just jump in here and do a little bit of rotation. Whichever way you want it to go to get it to line up the way you want it. And at the end of the day, it's all up to the artist's discretion. Project it, take a look at it, say, yeah, I like it. No, I don't. You know, it's up to you. Let's reproject that again. And then come over here and inflate it. Now, I don't like this texture. You can see that there's highlights on the edges, which really adds a lot of spiking in here. I could probably smooth that out and pull those down. Yeah, there we go. Still feel like it's kind of rough there on the edges. It doesn't need to be that rough. So, like I said, I had AI generate these for me, and AI has a tendency to go above and beyond when it doesn't need to. So, I'll probably just go ahead and freehand my own textures. Just keep smoothing it out until you get it right about where you want it. Actually get it right exactly where you want it. Don't get it about where you want it. And then we go back to our, get rid of that texture there, and then clear our map. I didn't think we got rid of our layer before, but I must have gone back too far. There we go. That's that nice gold color that we want. So, all right. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to spend here today. Like I said, all of my free time was spent setting this up today, and I just jumped on here because I thought I would kind of test things out and see how it went. And it looks like it's working great.